Um, I really don't want to talk about this Joe Pa situation and Penn State and everything else. It is a sickening situation. I'm annoyed that ESPN is covering it so much. I'm annoyed that sports radio is covering it as much. I wish that every time a priest or a teacher or a Boy Scout leader or anybody else who was ever accused of sexually assaulting, abusing their power over any small child was covered the way that this situation is. I mean, that's what really bothers me. Um, it's been interesting here in Chicago. There's been basically two different ways to cover. ESPN Radio on ESPN 1000 here in Chicago basically hasn't really covered it. I mean, brief stories, kind of just quick updates, maybe one segment a day with each radio show. So, I mean, if it gets an hour of coverage a day here in Chicago on that one radio station, that's probably about right. Where the Score, 670 AM, seems to be covering it a lot more. And the Danny Mac and Spiegel show particularly, it seems like they've dedicated hours to it. And personally, it turns me off. I don't, in times like this, stories like this, people usually go to sports to escape the bad stuff. People turn off the 10 o'clock news because they don't want to hear about all this stuff. I mean, it's sickening. It is absolutely sickening. I'm in no way saying that everybody in Penn State should be getting off the hook or anything. Sandusky deserves to burn in hell. Anybody who knew about this and turned a blind eye or covered it up or pretended it wasn't happened deserves to lose their job. And God will deal with them when their time comes. Thanks to Triumph Books Publishing, actually, I have an autobiography of Joe Paterno, which now, after this story, is moving to the top of my list once I finish Jeff Perlman's Walter Payton biography. I was actually Paterno was going to be close up there, but I had the Stan Mikita, I have a couple other books. But now, I mean, Pride of the Lions, the biography of Joe Paterno is going to be real interesting, and his biography is written in a couple years. It's probably not as going to be as flattering as this book is. It's interesting timing that it came out now, right after he won his 409th victory, beat Eddie Robinson. He has the all-time wins record now. I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame that it's going to lead to the end of Joe Pa's tenure at Penn State. Unlike a lot of people who are saying that he needs to be fired now, or I've even heard people saying that Penn State needs to cancel the rest of their football season, I'm not a Penn State fan. I don't care. But you know what? No matter what happened, a lot of innocent boys were hurt, and there's no reason to harm the 80 or 100, whatever number of kids are on the Penn State football team by canceling the remaining part of their schedule. Let Joe Pa stay on the sideline. Joe Pa wasn't touching boys. Let's just get that straight. Was he guilty of turning the blind eye? Probably. I mean, he didn't report. Whatever he did wasn't enough. But let him finish out his career. Let him just end this season. If you want to punish him, take away the bowl game. But let him finish the next 2 or 3, whatever games Penn State has on their schedule. Just let him finish, and then let him retire. There's not going to be any big ceremony anymore. Let him just go away kind of quietly with whatever dignity he may have left. And just leave it at that. There's no reason to hurt the kids who are on the football team or anybody else. And why put an interim in place for 2 or 3 games? Just let Joe Pa finish it. Let whatever happen. And just let it be. And then go after him. If legal matters, I mean, if it proves that he broke the law, go after him. By all means, do whatever is necessary. But in terms of this year, I mean, people aren't canceling church. The Boy Scouts weren't getting disbanded. I mean, just let it go and let this old man, who probably stayed too long already, and who knows what he's really doing. I mean, who knows how involved he really is. I mean, people used to say that he was so old that he might not even be coaching anymore. He was more of a figurehead. But now this comes up, and he knows everything that's going on. And I just don't like the double standard. Let it go. It's an awful situation. Let Joe Pog just retire, walk out. Just give him that. He stayed long enough. Just give him that. It's an awful situation. This has ruined his legacy. I mean, it is disgusting what happened. But, yeah, I mean, I didn't want to talk about it last night on the Leatherhead radio show that I was on, and I unfortunately, I just disagree so much with the radical opinions that people are coming out with, saying that he needs to go now and cancel the season. I mean, that's what Matt Spiegel was saying on The Score today. And that's stupid. And by all means, if any of those recruits, players, anybody needs out of their letter of intent or needs to transfer, the NCAA better do the right thing and let them just go without any ramifications. If they want to go transfer to Ohio State, let them. They want to go to Pitt, let them. And let them play immediately. If this ends up killing Penn State's football program, you know what? That's the price that Joe Pod's going to have to live with and everybody else who was involved. But don't hurt these kids. And I'm sure the NCAA is going to drop the ball on this because it seems like that's all they ever do is drop the ball. That's about it. I actually went on a lot longer than I thought.